And the footy hangover is back. Listen, I recorded a podcast for the Liverpool game as well. I was obviously just ecstatic with the whole thing. So it was like a 20 minutes full of just like me being like, I can't believe we just won it. But for some reason the podcast didn't record, and I guess I wasn't persistent enough to like do make like a second recording. So here we go. Brighton, we just beat Brighton. We just beat Brighton at home, 3-1. Well, not 3-1. What was it? 4-2. And it was a really good performance. Honestly, it was a. I know in terms of the XG, we were kind of similar. So the game was a bit closer than the scoreline would maybe have you believe. But honestly, man, like we look good. We look good going forward. It's honestly looking quite good. Everything is looking quite well. Amorim still hasn't really changed the system, and but listen, I mean, you have all the receipts here. I have been asking for Amorim's head ever since the season started. Really, ever since I seen right after the Arsenal game, right? Like the Arsenal game was alright. There were some signs of potential, signs of growth, whatever. But for sure, more and more team sheets would come through, and I would keep on seeing Shaw playing or Casemiro playing, Bruno playing in the midfield. And I'll be honest, man. I mean, Casemiro had a great game. Bruno, had one or two kind of one of those Bruno moments that are very world class. I still don't think he played really well. I think he again, Bruno's the type of player that kind of similar to what Salah did last year, where he'd kind of play like shit for most of the game, and then eventually just pull out a pass out of nowhere and just be like, all right, well, I guess that's why Bruno plays. Listen. Let's just take away the positives from this game. In terms of positives, we had Mbeumo just scoring another 2 goals. I think at this point, this is not at any point kind of stats reinforced or anything, but it feels like he's one of the higher GA players in the Premier League this season. And I know he was last season as well for Brentford, and he started out just on fire for us, man. I mean, I'd say he's been the only player in our squad that in our summer transfers thing that we just plugged him in and he's worked out just greatly for us, And so Mbeumo's a major just positive key aspect of the thing. Honestly, he's one of the, so far, right, because I don't want to pronounce myself too soon, it's only been 2 months in the season, whatever, but so far it's looking like Mbeumo might just be the best signing we've made in a long time, you know what I mean? Again, I would put De Ligt close to that. Lisandro Martinez has been injured for a long time. But yeah, man, it's Mbeumo town right now. It's Mbeumo City. We're very happy with it. And Cunha is just got his first goal that just fucking hit so great. Honestly, it was insane. I was very happy to see it. Honestly, Cunha has been one of the most influential players in our squad. For the last 2 or 3 games, again, I made a whole thing on the Liverpool thing, and I was just completely raving about Cunha after that game. But he's been very influential. But there hasn't been any goals from him, any assists. So I'm very happy he finally got a nice outside the box shot. And yeah, man, Cunha's here. Cunha's here, and he's looking just phenomenal. Like a trequarista, like a magician. Yeah, just getting past players. He's attempting a lot of crazy shots. So is Mbeumo. Let him do it. Let him do it. I'm happy with it. Hey man, more of that. Honestly, more of that. What else we got? We got. Listen, we're still doing the whole Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. I've obviously been probably the biggest Casemiro hater ever since that game. Probably a year or 2 years ago. Against Liverpool, where he completely fucked it up for us. And I know he's been playing a little better than he has then. But and listen, it's a little bit hard hating on Casemiro now after he's I mean, I think for this game he's scored and assisted, and honestly he's put in a pretty solid defensive shift. And it's pretty obvious that once he goes to 50th, 60th minute, he can't really do it anymore. But it's really good to see him I guess scoring and assisting. I'm willing to die on this hill. I am majorly in favor of putting Ugarte over Casemiro. I know that's not going to happen. I mean, it's kind of impossible to take out a midfielder who just scored and assisted in the last game. And but I still do think that Those are some. I keep on talking about the holes in the midfield, and the gaps between the defense and the midfield, especially with Casemiro not being able to like run that much. I am still not the biggest Casemiro fan out there. I get I get his role. I even get why Amorim chooses him over Ugarte. Like Casemiro is obviously like more experienced. He passes like much more safely and better than Ugarte does. He's much more of a calming presence in the midfield than Ugarte is. Only problem is on the defense, and again, we've had like the XG. The XG is a bit, I mean, it shows that Brighton had like a good amount of chances on goal, and I think a lot of those chances came from the fact that like Casemiro does still leave those like kind of big gaps in the midfield, and that's just how it is, man. That's just how it is, and I. Yeah, I'll definitely take out Casemiro from the midfield. The another thing is Bruno was a number 8 or number 6 or a number 10. That's a deep lying playmaker. I don't know what you want to call it, but I would not be playing Bruno either. Again, I'm before the last two games, like I was in the majority of the Man United fans, and I feel like now after we just won like the last three games and a game against Liverpool, and the team's looking obviously better. Honestly, like it's easy to see the team is looking better, but no, I'm fine being in the minority here and saying that Ugarte and Bruno, Ugarte and Bruno should be the duo, or Ugarte and Mainu. I would obviously love to see Mainu play. Um, it's quite something, man. It's quite something. I honestly think like Mainu is kind of out of it at this point. I mean, he came on against Brighton as well. Didn't he had a few nice like link ups and a few nice, but it wasn't really the Mainu that we've seen for the past like 2 years before this little break of like inactivity, right? So I would definitely try and fit those guys in. I know it's not going to happen, but that's just how it is. What other games happened this weekend? Napoli Inter. Napoli won. I actually couldn't watch that, which I was very sad about because that would have been. I think that's like my top two race in Italy right now. Like I do think Napoli and Inter are going to come out on top by the end of the season. But yeah, I couldn't watch it because Man United was playing like just half an hour after the game started. So yeah, listen. Loyalty comes first. Man United comes first always. So I was gonna always watch that. Then the biggest one is probably Barcelona Real Madrid. And yeah, Real Madrid won 2-1. It was I watched the game the whole way through, and yeah, man, Real Madrid just looking like much stronger. I mean, both me and my brother were watching it, and we're like, yeah, it's just looking like Real Madrid is a better team. You know what I mean? It has some to do with the fact that like Barcelona has been quite injured, and they don't really have like much of a striker, and that definitely is showing like at the moment right now. Because no, I mean, listen, it's just like there was no one on the other end of like crosses or passes, and like honestly, I say that their most dangerous player was Rashford. Yamal, after all that talking and all that stuff, is just like he honestly did not play very well. He had a couple of nice passes that again didn't really go through because of a lack of striker. But he couldn't, like Carreras out of all people really had him in his pocket, and it just seemed like he was like a bit frustrated, a bit like just wasn't ready for the game really. And after all those comments, like I can't help but kind of feel good about it honestly, because Yamal is starting to piss me off. I mean, listen, I love a hockey player, but he's just being a bit cringe. So I don't really like Yamal anymore. In fact, I have him in my FIFA Ultimate team, and I'm probably gonna sell him just based off the fact that I don't like him too much anymore. And in terms of the main takeaways of the Real Madrid Barcelona game, it's I mean, Bellingham just played incredibly well, and Vini had like a couple of really good things, and Mbappe missed the pen, but he was also like the most dangerous man on the pitch, and again, really insane player. Chouameni, man, Chouameni, just like that was a masterful performance from him. Like the ball just seemed to kind of get glued to him in that midfield. And think about like, because I'm just gonna like as a Man United fan, I'm just gonna make like the parallels between. Yeah, imagine having Chouameni instead of Casemiro. Like that would just be the dream. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I like Ugarte, but Chouameni is just like he's on that Caicedo, Declan Rice level. Phenomenal CDM. Just like just really good. Just really good. Just like an absolute like ball magnet who is very strong, very very responsible in his like tactical defensive duties, and doesn't misplace many passes. Seems quite level-headed, very strong again. Good on tackles, great on interceptions. So obviously, like he's a top two CDM. I came out in this podcast maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago after a certain Caicedo game, and I was like, he's definitely the best CDM in the world. I will say that I have not watched Chelsea play in the last 2 weeks, but I know they've been losing a bit. They're actually, well, they're below us in the standings right now, so that's great. But I'll put Tchouaméni just like right up there as well. Phenomenal player, and I know it's not a hot take. Everyone loves Tchouaméni, but still. Probably Barcelona's best player was De Jong, which is a bit disappointing. Like, I mean, listen, I love De Jong, great player, and I think he's actually integrated really well for the past, like, what is it, that like 5 years, 6 years that he's been playing for Barcelona. Like, he's gone from being like a player that could really kind of push the ball forward and, he dribbled past a lot of opponents and all that stuff, which, I mean, was one of the more spectacular parts of his game, to being a bit more of a, settle down, kind of, one-touch passing, maestro, tempo dictator. And honestly, I think he probably had like the most amount of touches out of any player in the pitch this game. I mean, he played incredible. Really, it was too bad that they couldn't win for him, but he played really well. And he even had like two or three of those highlights where took the ball with him and like pushed past like 2 or 3 players. It was honestly a good time watching him. I do love De Jong. So other key takeaways. I also watched one half of the Arsenal game. Arsenal against who was it? Crystal Palace. I actually have not seen Crystal Palace play this season at all, so I was looking forward to watching that mostly because of Wharton. I love a good midfielder, and I really wanted to get like a good idea of what he looked like. But honestly, I think he had like a really poor game. A lot of misplaced passes. He just didn't seem on it. He had a couple of good tackles and interceptions, and he seemed like he was giving the effort. Just he wasn't looking at that like world class kind of level people have been talking about, and that's just how it is. That being said, Arsenal are looking well. This is kind of like the story of the weekend and the story of the last 3 or 4 weekends. Liverpool are on a 5-game losing streak in the Premier League, and Arsenal are just looking like. Listen, it's only November. It's not even November yet, but they're just looking like the main candidates by far for the title. And listen, I want Arteta to get his. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we are probably not gonna get it, but listen, we're top 4 right now. So who's to say? It's a bit of a crazy league. Like I'd say Arsenal is the only team out of the traditional top 6 that is looking the way Arsenal would normally be looking like. And depending on how you think about Spurs, they also look like Spurs. Yeah, Chelsea, they've been a bit of a disappointment in terms of just inconsistent with their performances, just the same old kind of Chelsea stuff where, there's some games where you watch them and you go like, oh, this is like a team that could win the Champions League, potentially. And then you watch a different game and you go like, oh, there's so many things wrong with it, and the defense is not there and all this stuff. Liverpool, man, watching a Liverpool downfall is honestly like it's about in the same tier as like having sex. It's a beautiful thing. It's I honestly like I mean the entirety of last season I kept on like I was my flatmate, my best friend, he was like a massive Liverpool fan, and I kept on like watching their games, hoping that it'd be like a successful hate watch, and it almost never was. I mean, they wouldn't lose. They wouldn't. They were playing really well. And guess what? This season they're on a 5-game Premier League losing streak. And Salah's gone to the washer. Absolutely. Van Dijk. I mean, Van Dijk played just horrible, man. Against Brentford too. I mean, against us, Van Dijk was horrible. And then against Brentford, he concedes a horrible penalty, which is like I was texting this friend of mine, and I was like, what is he doing? Like. Just like right in the box or like right slightly outside the box, and he's like, putting his hands on the attacker and like fucking tripping him, and it's just like, man, what's Van Dijk up to right now? Honestly, in terms of like Liverpool players that are looking like, well, there's very few of them. Like I'd say Gravenberch, he's kind of kept the same level of performances, and he's probably their best player right now. But they lost Salah's productivity. Like honestly, Salah's a bit of a minus now because the amount of chances that he gets and squanders is just incredible, man. I mean, he's single-handedly lost a couple of these games at least for them. You know what I mean? And Wirtz is not looking good yet. Wirtz is honestly looking like he's good on build-up play, but like I mean on build-up and link-up and all that stuff. But at this point, I don't think he adds much more than Mason Mount does for the team. And listen, even as a Man United fan and a Liverpool hater, you don't like seeing a massively talented player, who's I don't even know 21, 22 years old, kind of come into the Prem and struggle because it's not good for the sport. I feel like I mean you want players like Wirtz to do well just because when he's on his game he's actually like really spectacular. Like I used to watch him in the Leverkusen jersey and in the Germany national team, and it was just like it was phenomenal to watch him. So listen, I sincerely hope that Liverpool keep on losing, but I also kind of hope that Wirtz kind of comes through a little bit and isn't as shit as it currently is, because he absolutely is just not good right now. But let's get back to Man United, man. Let's get back to Man United. So in terms of lineup, Lamens is looking phenomenal. Lamens is just looking great. You know what I mean? I mean, people were talking about the free kick and whatever, like, how can we consider that goal from the free kick? I thought it was a really well-placed free kick, and like, it was a bit of a weird, just a weird critic to have the goalkeeper. And again, like especially this game and the game against Liverpool, he just had like some really good saves. And even when he's not making like the most spectacular saves, he's just right at that spot where you'd want him to be. Like he's just making the life of the attacker, the life of the striker, like as hard as it possibly can be. And he does all the basics right. And again, I'm not the greatest goalkeeper, like like eye test guy, you know what I mean? Like I don't exactly know what a goalkeeper, like what a great goalkeeper or like what a somewhat average goalkeeper looks like. But I do watch a lot of football, and he seems like a good goalkeeper. I'm very happy with him. Seems commanding. In terms of the back three, we kept it to the Maguire was slightly injured. Like he scored against Liverpool. He had a really good game against Liverpool, so he definitely would have played against Brighton. If he wasn't injured, but he was. So it was De Ligt, Shaw, and Euro. And De Ligt is just fucking phenomenal, man. I love De Ligt. I've been calling for De Ligt to be our captain for so long. I will honestly just be so freaking mad if Lisandro Martinez comes back into the team and De Ligt gets out or something like that. Like De Ligt has been consistently, I would say, our best performer, like this season at least, and definitely for a good chunk of last season as well. De Ligt is just phenomenal, man. He absolutely is. Is just a massively commanding presence in the defense there, and great interceptions, great tackles. I think he works best as a last man type of situation. So realistically, like our best defending line, once Lisandro Martinez comes back and everything, it'd be Martinez is a last man kind of defender, which again, incredible player is that. World class, honestly, absolutely world class. Like one of the best center backs in the league, for sure. Like I mean, I'm talking like top 4 best center backs in the league. Yeah, top 4 for sure. Because you'd have to put Gabriel and Saliba there for sure, and then there's a couple other players that are quite good as well. Definitely none on the Liverpool squad though. I mean, Van Dijk's been shit for this entire season pretty much. But yeah, anyway, De Ligt is the last man. Martinez on the left side there, and Euro on the right side. I would just be very, very happy with that, honestly. I would almost be so happy with that I would almost be willing to forgive Amram for his stupid antics of putting Casemiro over Ugarte and Bruno over Menu. And yeah, I know it's I just talked about this 15 minutes ago when I started this recording, but I know I'm in the minority by now. But it's just one of those things where it's like that meme with the guy like standing up in a crowd and just being like I'm gonna speak the truth. Listen, I'm gonna stick to my guns here. I believe in what I see in terms of the game. I still do think that despite us winning for the past 3 games, what's the saying that you get in the football manager press conferences, like a wise man repairs the roof when it's sunny. I do think that like that's the case here, man. It's like, listen, I'm glad Casemiro has worked out for us last 3 games. I would not be putting him over Ugarte. Easy as that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. He's never done anything to me, Casemiro. So I'm not gonna go on a complete crusade against this man's name. So Casemiro and Bruno, I've talked about this enough. And then it's just Mbuemo, Cunha, and Šeško, man. Mbuemo, Cunha, and Šeško makes me happy. It gets me going. It's Mbuemo is fast as hell. He takes the man out of the equation, and just like his first touch, really. I mean, his acceleration alone is phenomenal. You know what I mean? And then he has like a really good attacking, kind of like attacking position, mentality kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like he has like a really good sense for where he should be in an attack, in a counter attack as well. So I think he helps out a lot with that. You know what I mean? I do think he helps out a lot with that. And then Cunha is just a straight up musician. Cunha is kind of makes me miss Mainu less, because what Mainu I think is the best at it, just getting out of like very tight situations with 2 or 3 defenders around him, and just like Cunha is the absolute best at that. I mean, Cunha is phenomenal. Obviously, Mainu has other qualities as well, but Cunha is so good at that, man. He really is. He's just like it's really fun to see. And then Šeško didn't have the greatest game against Brighton. I'm pretty sure he did assist once, but I still do think it's one of those things where we just bought all these 3 attackers like this summer, and honestly I think like they've done a really good job of kind of integrating into the system, whatever the system is, right? Integrating into the system and like putting in some really good performances. And even with Šeško, who I think is the least integrated, I think is still vastly more integrated than someone like Isak or Wirtz, or he scored a couple of times already. I think he assisted against Brighton again. Against Liverpool, he didn't play, which I thought was a bit of a questionable decision. People were like, "Oh no, he made the right choice," whatever. Like, why did he exactly make the right choice? Because again, Mount didn't have the greatest game against Liverpool. It was really just like a Cunha, and it was the link-up play in between Mbuemo and Diallo. That's a big part of everything, honestly, I'd say. Mbuemo and Diallo might be like the key for us to winning the season. It really might be, because listen, say what you will about Diallo defensively, but especially for the last 3-4 games, Diallo is back to like what I know Diallo to be, which is like an electric, explosive player. And Diallo is back to that now, man. And whenever Diallo and Mbuemo are playing together on that right flank, I mean, they scored against Liverpool that way. They were looking really dangerous against Brighton that way. And it's just like I really do think that's the key for us to win it, because it's a real overloading one side of the pitch with like very massively good attacking players. I would still say we got some problems on the left flank there. Dalot didn't play horrible against Brighton, but it's one of those things where, again, we won against Brighton, we won against Liverpool. You want to keep on winning, so you wouldn't just stop here in terms of fixing the team, right? I would probably put Dorgu in there, even though Dorgu came on against Brighton, didn't look so good, but I would still probably put Dorgu in there. And yeah, man, that's really about it. That's really about it. I'm obviously very happy with how the team's going. All right, I don't want to be here raining on anyone's parade. All my anti-Casemiro slander talk and all that stuff. Listen, I'm very happy with the team. We won 3 in a row. That guy might fucking cut his hair. I'm happy. I'm happy. It's nice to watch my team win. We put 4 past Brighton. We put 2 past Liverpool. We put 2 past Liverpool. And it was, it's been a good time. It's kind of like, getting out of say I've been living in Ireland for the past 3 years. Well, I lived in Ireland for 3 years. So it's like one of those days when it's raining the entire day and whatever. And then, for 20 minutes you get a nice little brief of sunlight and everything. And it's it kind of feels like that. And I hope it's not going to be as brief for 20 minutes. You know what I mean? The little patch of sunlight. Listen, next week we got Nottingham Forest for I'm pretty sure on Halloween, and that's another game that we gotta win. That's just another game that we gotta win, and hopefully Liverpool lose against whoever they play against. Might be Tottenham or someone, I don't know, I forget. But That's just pretty much where we're at. We're fourth in the league right now. I'm not hoping for the league. We're probably not going to win the league. Arsenal again is looking very consistent, very deep. Multiple ways that they could come at you in terms of like attacking wise, and by far the best defensive team I think in the whole Europe. But you know, a top four finish would be, oh god, I mean, are you kidding me? Just like Champions League games next year, and like, you know, being back in the top four. Like, I don't want to sound like an old school Arsenal fan, like, you know, back in the Arsene Wenger times, or like a Spurs fan. But being in the top four for us, we just like, you know, we were in the 16th or whatever, like last season, and you know, just being like, you know, slowly drifting into like non-existence for the past 3 years. It'd be phenomenal for us. So yeah, man, a top four finish is you know, somewhat in sight right now. I mean, why not? We could probably do it. We got the players. I'm not sure if we have the coach. I'm not sure if we have the right team selection, but for now we're chilling, so we're happy. Anyway, footy hangover. I'll be back next week. I'll be making these every week. I'm you know, I'm obviously gonna keep at it, and maybe I'll even add the Liverpool, Man United Liverpool video separately, because I did record it. It's just like the recording was kind of weird, so I never put it out. Anyway,